Hi everyone, I'm Riley from Echidna Sewing. Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these Easter bean bags. These are a super cute and super easy project to make for your kids or even with your kids. They make great paperweights or they can just be used as a cute Easter decoration. Here I've got everything that I need for this project. To view the full list and to get the pattern needed, make sure you check out our written instructions on our website. Now let's get into it. The first thing we're going to do is just cut out our little pattern pieces here. Once you've cut out those pattern pieces, grab your felt and your faux fur, and we're just going to trace out these patterns onto here. Now I'm using the yellow felt for my chicken accessories and I'm using the faux fur for my bunny accessories. So, just going to place my chicken pattern pieces just against the line there. Then with your friction pen or a water-soluble pen if you have one, I'm just going to trace around the pattern. Great. Go ahead and cut them out. Now do the same for your bunny pieces with your faux fur. Make sure that when you're doing your bunny pieces that you trace 2 of the ears instead of 1. And just a tip for when you're cutting faux fur, I tend to use smaller snips when I'm cutting, as it tends to reduce the amount of faux fur that you cut off. Once you've cut out all of your accessory pieces, just pop them to the side for now. And we can cut out our main fabric. Now for each one of these fabrics, you're going to need to cut 2 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares. There's our first 2 pieces. And there's our other 2 pieces. Now I'm going to do my chicken first. So just grab your 2 squares that you want for your chicken and place them face up, like so. And now we want to align these in the top right corner, but making sure that they're facing in to the fabric. I'm just going to put the comb on that top edge and the beak just under it on this other edge. They should almost be touching. And then the wattle just underneath, just like that. Now grab your other piece and I'm going to place that face down on top and aligning those edges. And just clip to secure those in place, or you can pin if you prefer. That one's done, pop that one aside and then do your bunny. So again, face up. Now leave your tail off for the moment because we're going to attach that later. Grab your ears and I'm going to place them right sides together and just pop them on the top edge of that right corner. Then place that one down on top and clip to secure it. And now we can move on to sewing. When we go to sew our pieces together, we're going to be using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I've just swapped out my regular zigzag foot for a 1/4 inch foot. If you don't have a 1/4 inch foot, you can just use your standard zigzag foot and follow the 1/4 inch mark along the back. Now when you sew these together, you just want to sew the 2 sides and the top together. You can see my pieces are in that top corner. So just those 2 sides and the top. excess threads, set that one aside, and do the same for your other piece. Before we stitch our eyes on, I'm just going to turn our pieces right side out. Just like that. And I'm going to start with the chicken. I'm just going to locate where I want his eye to be, and with my friction pen, just going to make a little mark right there. I've got my little buttons here, and just with your hand stitching needle, there's that one done. Now go ahead and do that for the other side of your chicken and for your bunny as well. Once you've sewn your buttons on, we're just going to flip these back to the wrong sides out. And we're just going to box this open edge. So all that means is just taking one piece of fabric from either side, pulling it open so that these seams here align. And make sure you just nest those seams so that they sit flat, and then just clip to secure. Right. Then grab your friction pen, and I'm just going to mark from the middle 1/2 inch on either side of that middle seam, because we're about to sew this together and we want to make sure we leave a gap that we can turn this right side out. Right. And then do the same for your other one. Once you've done that, we can get into sewing. I'm just going to sew to my first mark here. I'm going to reverse stitch forward, lift up my foot, move my fabric down to that second mark, foot down, back tag, and continue sewing. Don't forget to trim your excess threads off. And I'll do that on the other one. Once you've sewn those together, just trim down these edges and square off these corners so that we get a nice defined point when we turn these right side out. Once you've trimmed down those edges, go ahead and turn both pieces right side out. Once they're turned out, just give each seam a good press with your iron. Right. Once they're all ironed, we can now fill them up. So you're going to fill the top third of each beanbag with the stuffing or your hobby fill, and then the last 2/3 will be filled with rice. So just take it a little bit at a time. Once that's in, I'm just going to use my friction pen just to stuff it right up the top. Once I'm happy with the amount of stuffing, I'll just do it on the other one. And then just fill the rest up with your rice. This is going to be a mess. one aside and do your other one. As you can see, it's a little bit messy. Once you've filled up each one with rice, we're just going to hand stitch those openings closed. Now with your needle and thread, just stitch shut that turning hole. Once you've done one, go ahead and do the other one too. Once you've sewn the turning hole shut, your chicken is now done. And there's one last thing we need to do for our bunny, and that's to make our pom-pom tail. So again, just with your needle and thread, I'm just going to stitch a long basting stitch just around the edge of the pom-pom. You'll see as I'm sewing these stitches in that the pom-pom is starting to gather. Once you get back to the beginning, just going to pull that thread nice and tight so you make a little pom-pom. And then I'm just going to sew a few stitches through the ends of the gathers just so it stays in place while I'm stitching it onto the bunny. Just like so. Grab your bunny and we're just going to stitch it onto the back end here. Tie that off, trim your thread, get rid of any excess fur, and there are your finished Easter bean bags. Now, if you're interested in any of the products that we use in this video today, feel free to check out our website for more information, and don't forget to tag us on Instagram so we can see your creations too. Happy sewing!